Welcome to Pat's Cast, the unofficial Regina Pats podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
And this is our episode for August the 6th, 2020. So August the 6th, normally we would be doing our camp review. We'd be looking into that. Would we not be getting warmed up for that?
Getting warmed up for that, yeah.
For training camp. But here we are. It's August the 6th. Things are off in a distance. Nevertheless, still some news to talk about. If you didn't listen to our Bantam Draft review episode, that's our last one we put out. That was a couple weeks ago now. Early July.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It's been a little bit yet.
Yeah, really good. Featuring Draft Geeks, of course, who usually helps us out with that. So if you haven't listened to that, that's a good listen too. It's not as time sensitive, so that's great. So yeah, here we are, August the 6th. How you been holding up?
I've been doing pretty good.
Yeah,
I've been fairly busy, so I haven't.
Bet you are.
A few changes in my life.
Yeah.
If anybody doesn't know, I had my first child in end of April.
Yes.
So that's a big change, but it's been good.
Yeah.
Keeping busy with that and a bunch of other stuff, like work hasn't slowed down too much through all this. So I don't know. I haven't missed a beat. We haven't been able to do the show. We've been trying to schedule, coordinate. Yeah. Not that we had to get it done sooner than this, but if we needed to, we could have. But it was just like, oh, well, I'm kind of busy. You're kind of busy. And we'll get around to it one of these days because it's time sensitive, obviously.
No, and really, nothing's time sensitive. The latest news, of course, is WHL pushing back the start date. So we'll get into that. Again, we are live on Facebook coming at you. Always a great time for you guys to come in there and check that out and get your comments in. We didn't give you too much or any notice on this episode, to be honest. So, we're just going with it on August the 6th here, and we'll see how it goes. It's the first time using a new setup here, so didn't want to put a
new look studio.
Yeah. This is my COVID project. Got the painted wall and better shelves for the bobbleheads and whatnot and pucks, and
it's looking good, real good.
I thought so. Yeah. So anyways, join us live on Facebook when we do shows. It's always great to have your feedback there. But again, follow us on Twitter at WHL Patscast. And also, we'll always have that audio, the normal podcast, which we built our brand on, if you want to call it that. Our bread and butter was the podcast, and that'll always be there. Anyway, so let's talk about... so you've been busy. I've been busy, and then now that hockey's back, and actually sports for that matter, I didn't realize how much I missed it till it was back. Like when it was gone, my job, I was so busy. I barely noticed, I noticed it.
But you weren't missing it, right? Because you weren't sitting around like, oh man, I wish there was sports on. Yeah, you've kept busy. I've kept busy, so I didn't miss it, right?
Right. But now that it's back, hockey has been on all the time. It is like the Olympics. It's on all day, and I love it. And I don't know, some people maybe don't, but man, it's now that it's back, and I personally feel NHL has done a really good job with it.
Yeah. Out of the major sports, they have definitely.
Yeah. The no fans thing. It's maybe because I don't go to NHL games, and it was never even an option. So I don't really care or notice it. I mean, I notice it because you see it, but it's not a detriment. No, in my opinion.
And like they said, they've added more camera angles that they couldn't if the fans were there. So, and the little bit I've watched, and I'll be honest here, I've watched more baseball than hockey.
Yeah.
But the little bit I have watched, it has been a good production, right?
I agree.
For TV.
The camera angles, the little bit of difference they can get, whether it's because they can put them where fans would have normally been.
Yeah, I think so.
I've loved that. Like, it's almost kind of like where we sit at the Brand Center. You get a bit better of a vantage point where you can see the plays develop a bit better. It's just that little bit higher up, or that angle that and it actually slows it down a little bit more, that you can just see it. I've really enjoyed it. It's awesome. Everyone's staying healthy.
They've done pretty well, I think.
The only thing is, you can tell maybe these guys are a bit out of game shape with the amount of injuries, right? They're getting banged up. Some of them are freak accidents, but sometimes you think it might be a little bit of conditioning. Like they're just not.
Yeah, there's in shape, and then there's, like you said, game shape, right?
Yeah.
Not practicing a ton, not getting built up, not getting
even just the strength on. Like
yeah.
And
you're seeing that in baseball too, right? You're seeing lots of little issue injuries, right?
Yeah.
So, but once they get back into it, it'll go, and it's gonna be good. And like they say, everybody's healthy, so it's kind of a clean slate for everybody, and it's wide open.
Yeah.
So, which is pretty exciting.
Which is exciting, but very different than what baseball's doing.
Oh,
God, it was like
how
many they made. Like they didn't even make the first weekend.
I still watch it because I like baseball, but yeah, it's a bit of a tire fire right at first.
It is. It's too
well,
bad.
when you got players, and it's all down to the players. Like when you got players going out apparently, and they're screwing it all up, right?
Yeah.
So same thing with basketball. There were some issues at the start. Like players weren't abiding to the rules and what they should be doing.
You need that bubble. And when Jake Muzzin went out with Toronto, he went to a hospital.
Yeah.
And there was the talk. Well, should he? I think he had to isolate.
Yeah, they said he has to quarantine.
Yeah. Well,
now.
they were saying, well, maybe not if he was in a hospital. I thought that's where you don't want to go.
Yeah, exactly. That's the last place you kind of want to go if you don't want to get it, because there's going to be sick people there, right? So
exactly. So, how far do you think baseball makes it? Do you think they make it?
I was saying like they're not going to make it like at all.
I don't think so.
And maybe this like little blip, not blip, but this little flare up at the start would be like, oh, okay, well if you guys want to play,
smarten up.
Like smarten up, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, right? So maybe they will do that. Like you look at the Canadian government and said, no, Jays can't play here, right? Yeah. You're not going back and forth over the border just because you play baseball.
Have they played at home yet?
No, not till next week. Tuesday, I think, is the first game against the Marlins. Yeah,
naturally.
So or whatever
God.
Marlins AAA team or whatever whoever they're playing.
It's going to be whoever can stay healthy and field an actual pro level team
exactly.
might make it.
But it just comes down to like the fact where one basketball player got sick with this.
Yeah.
And every sport in the whole world shut down. Half a team's sick, and they're like, you just postpone your games.
I know. Remember
right?
that one? I still remember when they came out and shut that basketball game like right
mid-game
before tip
or whatever.
They were like ready to go, and they're like, "No, get out of here." And then,
that's we were at the
know.
game. That was our last game to be at, the past game.
Yes, it was that same night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the same night because that was the whole hubbub.
Yeah.
And so one player gets sick, everything is shut down in the whole world, and now half a team's sick, and they're like, "Oh, we'll just postpone. We'll play some double headers at the end of the year, whatever." So
God, they're gonna be playing a lot of double headers.
Yeah, so it's interesting, but whatever.
They were saying they might just do win percentage.
Well, they're gonna have to, I think, because you can't do that many double headers. You'll just wear out your pitchers.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into Pat's news. So last time we did the import draft review episode, or sorry, the Bantam draft. So out of that, we did have a trade in that draft, which we hadn't had a chance to talk about. The Pats picked up Roddy Ross, 20-year-old goaltender from Seattle, from Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan, I think it is.
Okay,
he's local. So I personally really liked that move. I thought it addressed, frankly, a problem with the Pats. The mishandling of the goaltender situation last year led to this.
Yeah.
It kind of, getting a 20-year-old, you can get him relatively cheap. What is a 4th round we gave up for him or something like that? Or it wasn't too much.
I can't remember what it was. It wasn't a second, was it? No, okay. Because we had,
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Whatever it was. But it's been
a while now. Anyways, I liked it. I thought it was a good move.
He's a proven goaltender. You're going to have solid for 1 year. Maybe you can bridge the gap to Welke.
Yeah.
Welke can get some real good experience this year without having to shoulder the whole load of the team if it was going to be his first full season in the WHL, right?
Yeah.
Because, sure, he's a little older. He's 18, but it's his first year. Would he have been able to handle it or not, right? So having an older goalie, a proven goalie in the league would have been nice, and they could have...
Would have been really good.
Yeah, to bring Welke along, and because you think Welke is probably going to get the starting role this next season.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. We'll see if we get to actually see him. But it was a good move in my opinion. A 20-year-old goaltender, then you're missing out on that whole I don't think we had any other 20-year-olds that were you're hell bent on keeping though. That over a good goaltender.
No, and like you said, we really struggled in the goaltending position all year. Even when Paddock was here, had a couple injury situations, and so it was just kind of a state of flux, the whole crease area, and they addressed it, right. And Paddock said he wants to win next year. He just doesn't want to field some team and be like, okay, whatever. No, we've got a decent team. We've got Bedard now, and let's try to push for the playoffs, right?
Yeah, so I think it was a good move. So I guess time will tell if we get to see that play out. So the other topic here is the import draft. So we picked up one player.
Stanislav Svozil, I think.
Naturally, yeah.
Yeah.
How could I not remember that name?
Yeah.
So he's out of where?
Where was he? Czech, I think.
Didn't sound too promising.
Yeah, Czech Republic.
Some of the latest news that's come out.
Well, yeah, I think he said he was gonna. Sounded like there was the agent or whatever said he was gonna stay there, which is totally understandable with the situation here. Yeah. I don't blame anybody for not coming over here.
It totally changes everything. Just absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of which, our good buddy Gushin signed with
Niagara.
That's nice.
He gets drafted and he signs right away. So it's obviously what he wanted, right? So he didn't want to be here. He wanted to be in Ontario, I guess, maybe.
I guess
so that's
I would have
the rumor
thought
sounded like, but
Bedard would have
maybe helped sell the team.
Yeah, you'd think so. What's in Niagara? That
honestly, I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't looked into their team, and
checkbook.
Yeah,
we all know that it's there, right? So who knows what enticed him to come there? Anyways, there was a tweet. I think Kevin at the Blue Liner put it out. Our good buddy Kevin there. He put up a tweet asking or talking about the import draft and some of the hits and misses and the success or not success that we've had. And I brought up the point that I think you just go for the fences. You just go. Like, if you're conservative, you're going to end up getting a guy you could get from wherever, you could pick up from
junior B or junior A or whatever, right?
Right. And I think
just another dude.
You just go for it. And if you get him, good. If not, big deal. May as well. Like,
yeah, and I agree. And like, Paddock has signed all his import draft picks, so he had a good track record. Gushin was the first one to not sign, which I mean, there was all sorts of rumors he didn't even want to be here, and maybe Paddock got played a bit or whatever. Yeah. Who knows? But nowadays the kids want to go where they want to go, and that's what they want to do, right? It's not. Yeah. It seems not a privilege to be drafted anymore. It's almost like they just like, oh, I just want to go here and we're gonna do whatever, right?
I get that feeling too, that it's not a slam dunk anymore.
No, like and the import draft is always a crapshoot too, right? Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Do you, like you're saying, do you go for the guy, the most talent that you might not be able to land, or do you get a guy for sure is coming that's okay?
Yeah,
right.
I say go for it.
So,
because really, like someone like
you can't add a talent like Gushin out of junior A or out of list players, right?
Yeah,
like you have to draft a player like that in the regular bantam draft. So you're trying to supplement your team to make them better, not just make them average.
Right. Yeah. Like to be frank, a guy like Sedov or Alkimov for that matter.
They didn't turn out all that great,
like,
right?
What are you gonna do for that, right? So,
I mean, yeah, maybe they didn't have any good intel on guys in Europe, and they had their scout in Colorado said these guys look promising, and hey, you give them a shot, and it didn't work out, right?
Yeah. Okay, so anything else you want to say about import draft?
Not really.
Draft in general.
No. We can transition to Sedov, actually.
Sure.
He was named to the World Junior Camp roster for Russia. Whether or not that actually happens, but that's good for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Getting an invite. We've had our reservations with his game this past year.
Yeah.
But still that's good for him though.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's been on some international teams with them before.
Yeah, he played the under-17s when it was here in Edmonton.
Was he on the Hlinka Gretz?
Yeah, the Hlinka. Sorry,
Okay.
yeah. I think that's under-17.
I think so.
There's under-17 and there's the Hlinka, which is under-17 as well. It's a little confusing, but yeah. So, that's good for him, though.
And, okay, anything else on set off?
No, I think so.
Okay.
That's my other point.
I mean, just a little bit of shake-up in the Pats organization, too. Some unfortunate departures, I think, really related to COVID and the lack of revenue, let's say, or jobs even that's out there, the work to do. So we did see, of course, probably old news now, but Phil resigned from his post. Phil the Thrill, that is, of course, best voice in junior hockey. So
I think so too. Yeah,
huge loss. But I mean, if you look at his family, he's got a young family. First of all, he probably needs better job security than what's going on now, but also just being away, right? I mean, now, trying to going on those road trips and stuff like that would be terribly hard on his family. So totally think I understand what went on, or at least his rationale, what it could be. Yeah,
and it didn't sound like he really had anything lined up.
Okay.
The interview I heard, I can't remember where it was, if it was on Rod Peterson or Sports Cage or what, but he just said he wanted to move back to Saskatoon and just have some more family time stuff. So it didn't sound like he had I've got something not better, or maybe something more family friendly that he had lined up. Maybe he does, he just didn't allude to it or not, but that's what I heard on the interview with him. So
yeah, but he just recently, today or yesterday, announced he's still staying on as the media director?
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
because I got an email from him, I don't know on what media release. So I was like, oh, is he still with the team, or is they just using his account because it's all the email list is under his account kind of thing. But then he said, oh, I'm still here till the season starts, and they have somebody else to replace me, and I'll handle the media releases and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's nice to still have him around, but gonna be weird not hearing.
Yeah, his voice.
Yeah,
I mean, it's.
What is this? We're set to go. We're underway. What does he always start the game as?
Underway at the Brand Center.
Something like that. Yeah. But good opportunity for someone else to come in. To a good franchise. So never know. Might see some differences. I was thinking. I mean, we've seen some departures of some of the. What are the other?
Yeah. Well, Sean Kindop. Yeah. He was the guy I dealt with post game with the interviews and stuff, and he's a senior account executive of corporate partnerships. So that's kind of a important role there, he probably deals with all the companies trying to get the sponsorship and all those deals done. But I mean, I read there was a good Dub Network interview with Bruce Hamilton, the owner of the Kelowna Rockets.
Yep.
Covering the whole kind of just a whole WHL situation in general. And he said most teams are down to 3-4 paid staff right now. Just because you're not bringing in any money. You can't pay all these guys that are full-time employees like Phil, and all these other people,
and you don't know
what's going to happen.
Start getting revenue.
Exactly.
I mean, they're still taking our season ticket money though.
Yeah, they are. So
yeah.
So and I mean there was a couple other departures too. I can't remember the names offhand, but every team, it's hitting every team, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I don't know. Can those employees they're still covered under CERB and stuff like that because they're just an employee just like anybody else.
Oh yeah, I would imagine so.
So I don't know if Sean's moved on because he found something different or whatever. But he announced it on Twitter that he's leaving the team. So it's not like they said, "Oh, we've released or we've let go of these people." Yeah. But obviously, with the start of the season influx, it's kind of people have to make some decisions, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have had to.
Yeah.
It's too bad. The one, I don't know if to say there's not a good thing, but the one thing that I thought could change would be the in-house level stuff. Maybe you just scale back some of the craziness during the game. Maybe just kind of scale back on the noise and all that shit, and just kind of
that might even be worse next year. Okay, we gotta sponsor
Oh.
every single break because we need that
No.
revenue. So like every single break will be an
Yeah.
ad sponsor for
I was-
sure
I was-
next year.
I was hoping
Next
it would
season.
be the opposite, just quiet, just play hockey like how it used to be.
No, more timeouts.
Remember, like
more money.
preseason.
Oh yeah, I know.
Preseason,
I know.
no, there's this-
We're getting old. We like that preseason. No action going
Yeah.
on. But what can you do?
Yeah, no, there's nothing good out of it, but it was just one thing that I thought of. So speaking of not playing, it's just yesterday, WHL announced that they're moving back the season start to December 4th. I don't know.
After the initial October,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
date.
October, which really wasn't that much later because it's usually mid-September.
Yeah,
so that was
it was
like
only like
2
a
or
couple
3
weeks.
weeks.
Yeah.
Which didn't. There was no way October.
No.
No.
And honestly, I'll say it right now. There's no way December 5th's happening. No, not a chance.
Not unless there's some dramatic changes to their
Instantly.
strategy. I think
Not even to their strategy, to life,
to life. Yeah.
because it's not up to the WHL.
No.
It's they can say everything. They can say all this. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It's not up to them. It's up to the government. It's up to what's happening in life.
Yes.
So
And
I don't
they're
think-
not going to come out right now and say, "We're hooped."
No,
You know,
there's
they
no
still have to-
point. There's no point in saying, "Oh, we're not playing the season now." There's no point in saying that. As much as
No.
I agree I'm thinking that's going to happen, but there's no point in saying, "Oh, we're going to start on December 5th," either. They'll
They'll just keep pushing it back.
Yeah, I mean, they'll just keep giving it people's hopes.
And
up.
was it solely on the heels of that American player announcement that they won't be coming in? Was it related? Was it strictly related to that, or is it?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was timed with that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what's happening amongst the leagues, like the OHL and the Q.
Well, last I
obviously-
heard, the OHL was moving their American teams up to Ontario.
Is that actually going to happen? But
I don't know. Can they play without fans? Because that's gonna be the reality.
I wouldn't think so. Right? It's going to be no different
No.
than WHL.
Well-
I mean, they do have some local TV money, but that's nothing to run a team on.
No, and that's what I mean. Unless, and the WHL released a while ago, they have to play with at least 50% capacity, or
Yeah.
allowed to. Some rinks don't get 50%.
No, you look at Edmonton and Calgary. Obviously, they're not going to have 50%.
So allowed to have 50% capacity.
Yeah.
The American teams have to be able to play. Right now, none of that looks
Well, yeah.
feasible. So unless
BC
they're-
government said no gatherings until at minimum January. So
Yeah.
the December 5th start date is already moot, which is pointless.
unless they can go without fans, but they said they can't. So it's either they have to,
Unless they're
say
thinking,
they
well,
can.
we can go without fans for a month and then allow fans in January 1. But
Yeah.
is that really going to happen?
I don't know.
Yeah. None of us know that, right? That's
No.
the thing. And even Prince George, they said they're not even going to open the rink. Till whenever. They said the city's so in debt of money, they're not going to spend the money to open the rink because they can't recoup enough revenue.
But they said they were going to open up a smaller one.
okay.
Where their other, I think they have a BCHL team. They were going to,
Okay.
that's what I heard.
Okay, so they're 50% capacity of a small rink, so you bring in even less money.
Yeah.
Prince George is not that Prince George has big crowds to begin with,
Right.
but so you're gonna have, instead of having whatever the CN Center is, I don't know, 5,000, instead of having 2,500 max, you're gonna go to a 1,000-seat rink and have 500 max. Is that
Charge
gonna
twice
work?
as much.
Is that gonna work for WHL team? And the cost PG, they travel a lot. They have one of the
Oh, yeah.
if not the longest travel.
Yeah.
But I mean, then there's that whole thing. Okay, we're just going to play in division and all that.
Right.
But then there's the American teams.
Well, do you want to hear what I think could
Okay.
happen?
Sure.
Okay. This is what I think. I think you're starting in January. Okay. You're playing, or after Christmas. What do you?
Okay.
Like,
In the New
and
Year's.
the thing is, just doing a December start, so you play for a few weeks, then you break, and then everyone goes home. So it's just a huge
that's
potential for risk again,
That's another, yeah.
right? Wait till after Christmas, start January.
Yeah.
World Junior's probably going to happen, but
Yeah.
it's really
Every other international event's been canceled. So.
Yeah. So you're starting in January, okay? You have the U.S. division: Portland, Everett, Seattle, Spokane, TC. Okay,
Yeah.
they just play each other.
Okay.
Okay, BC, Victoria, Vancouver, PG, Kamloops, Kelowna. Okay,
Yeah.
they play each other. Central, Edmonton, Calgary, Red Deer, Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Swift. Okay, and then you have East, PA, Saskatoon, Moose Jaw, Regina, Brandon, Winnipeg. Okay, so you have all your divisions. They're playing just each other. I think my logic was provincial, but I think you kind of maybe be a little bit liberal with Brandon and Winnipeg being able to play. You're gonna have no fans. Okay. So it's like a 34 game season. Then basically you get a winner.
Playoffs?
Yeah, you get a winner from each one. You hope by the time you're done,
You can go interprovincial.
Okay. The US can come over.
Okay, so that's on the basis that these players' parents, Canadian player parents, are going to allow their Canadian kids to go to the States to play hockey. Would you let your son go play hockey right now?
I didn't think of that. Yeah. I was just picturing the U.S. teams being
being U.S. players.
There's a lot of.
And what about the American players coming here? Are the Bills gonna? Yeah. Like, where do they quarantine? Like, are you? If you were a Billet, would you let an American player come live in your house?
To quarantine? Depends. Like me right now with the young family, no. But
yeah,
I would. That's a big question too.
So that's my thing. I don't think. Well, I mean, we did see what parents will go to, the lengths that they will go to play hockey in this country, but that's minor hockey. This is a little different.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of eyes on this one.
Yeah, so I don't know if you were a parent sending your kid to Seattle, where it was quite bad before, or Portland, a big city, to play hockey, because the team is mostly Canadian, right?
Yeah,
it's not like they're American teams or American players. So that's a tough go-to. That's a tough ask.
Mm-hmm. I guess we'll see. We'll see over the next few months if it. I think it's the thing we all don't want to say. It's very. It's
very, very slim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just too much. Too many logistics.
Exactly the logistics. The whole span of this league is what's causing the issue. Look at the Quebec League. There are no American teams.
Yeah.
They're spread out amongst different provinces.
So do you think so say the O moves those teams up, the Q can play. Do they go without?
If they can go, why not?
I would say go for it.
Yeah. I mean,
if they can afford to, if they can go with no fans, or if they have different rules there, I don't know what they have. Where they'll be.
I
think they go for it. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was ready to say play without the American teams.
What would you do with all those players?
I don't know. Look at how many people are getting screwed already if the OHL and Q go.
No, that's true. That's true. This whole league would get all these players.
All these players do. I don't know.
I don't.
They go play junior.
So my coworker and I were talking about that. So say the WHL doesn't go, and there's rumors that midget AAA age players could come back. Since they're local, they don't count towards the roster. So a guy like Cole Sillinger could play Pat C's without counting against their roster.
Yeah.
Blake Sweatkoff, he could count. So I was like, maybe we'll be watching some midget AAA this year. But
do you know what they could do is play in the Brandt Center?
Yeah.
And we can all socially distance. It's huge, right?
I mean, they might get Pat's crowds, though, because there's nothing else.
It's the only game. That is, right? That is something I think it's not us just making this up. I think other people have talked about it. SJ and Pat C's and stuff could be.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So
this year.
So there was rumors, or not rumors, but that's a possibility that they can do that. But then you look at all these other players. Okay, well, I'm 18, I'm 19. WHL's not happening. Well, I'll go play for my local SJ team.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it's just a trickle-down effect. So WHL goes to SJ, SJ goes to Junior B, Junior B goes to Junior C. So it's kind of an interesting situation.
There could be some good hockey.
See, and we're thinking Junior A could happen.
Yeah. I think so.
Because, it's just provincial travel.
Yeah.
I mean, BC does have an American team, but they have one American team.
Oh, really? Where?
Yeah, in Wenatchee.
Oh. I don't know where that is.
It's in Washington.
Oh.
So they've won the BCHL
Oh.
A year or two ago.
Okay, so you're talking one team.
One team, yeah.
I know. I think we've all maybe thought that is maybe the SJ's the game in town this year.
Yeah. So,
Whatever.
but I mean, the BCHL has pushed back. They're back to December start date and all that. So I haven't heard anything, AJ or SJ or MJ. I haven't heard anything on them, just the BCHL. That's all I've heard.
Maybe the fact they haven't said anything is maybe they're thinking or hoping.
Well, yeah. And see, my coworker, his son is midget aged, and he hasn't heard much at all. They're taking their money, but there hasn't been
But
much
they must be
response.
starting to think about training camps and stuff too.
There's not going to be any SJ training camps, it sounds like. Because there's always the rookie camps, and that brings in big money for the teams. You charge a couple $100 per kid, come for a spring camp, and then that's how you scout your team for down the line. You always have a rookie camp with 50 kids, right? So he went to Weyburn and stuff like that, and so then next year you want to come back to Weyburn or go somewhere else, and that's because they don't have a huge scouting network. It's let's invite all these kids that we have somewhat of an eye on and check them out. So it sounds like you're going to be, whoever's on your roster is going to be your team, because there's not going to be any of these spring camps. There's going to be no summer camps, not much of a training camp, if any.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't sound like it's going to be much for that either. You think it would work, but until the government says, okay, you can have everybody on the ice at once kind of thing or whatever, right?
What have they said about stipulations? I've seen kids playing baseball and stuff.
Well, I've seen they've got X's on the fence where you can't sit in the dugout as a kid, minor league or minor baseball. And there's a chair. They got their little chair by the X, and then it's all down the line on the diamonds on North Louvain when I've driven by. But I mean, okay, so for hockey, they've had some whatever camps, and you can go skate, but you can't dress in the dressing room. You gotta get dressed in the parking lot, throw your skates on.
But hell, they're all gonna be at school together in a month.
I know, right? So I know.
Political.
So I know, and so Adult Safe started up in the summer. It started and played, but okay, so it's 4-on-4.
Yeah,
and you can only have 8 skaters, 4 on the ice, 4 on the bench. And there's no face-offs, there's no whistles or nothing. It's shinny.
Yeah.
So, why am I going to pay? I don't even know what they're asking. I didn't even look into it. But why am I going to pay? Because Adult Safe is expensive. Mm-hmm. Why am I going to pay that much money to play organized hockey when it's not?
Yeah.
It's just shinny. Well, I just play that on Thursday nights with the same group of guys, and we pay a third of the price of Adult Safe. Right? We just go out and throw on a jersey and play, right? So why am I going to pay more money to play organized hockey when it's not organized? Not that it's not organized, but you pay the premium for good hockey and the refs and all that stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I would be playing this winter. Just save some money and stay home.
Well, yeah, if you're not getting a good experience,
good value for your money, right?
Yeah.
So I really don't know. Nobody knows, right?
What's your percentage that we have a season?
Ooh, 5%. Yeah. I'm pretty not pessimistic, but I'd say realist.
Well, just
I'd love.
I want to. We've come up with how many ideas, and we're just.
And there's 5. Then there's 5 responses to why that can't happen, right?
Yeah.
So, there's just too many issues to overcome, I believe.
Yeah.
And I want to see hockey as much as the next guy, but I can't see it being over 5%.
I'm around, pretty low.
Yeah,
pretty low. Yeah, at all.
So it's I hate to be a downer on the show, but
but we got to talk about it, because what are we all gonna do? Sit around and Amanda says 15%.
Oh, okay.
The comments work. Look at that.
Oh, sweet.
Thanks,
Someone's
Amanda,
listening.
for testing that out.
Yeah.
15%, Amanda says.
All right.
Guess she's always been the positive one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
she's the cheerleader.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
I got a few more things.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, so there's a new podcast out there, the Monday Nooner podcast. It's ex-pros, ex-junior guys. They get together on Mondays at noon and play hockey. So they start up a podcast. They've had some great guests already.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised, but they have connections. Like they're in the hockey world.
You're not going to get that from us, folks.
No,
We don't
not
have
at the moment, yeah.
connections.
So Brian Burke was on the latest one. So he had a few John Paddock stories, like when they played together. So go back and listen to that one. That one's good. Then there was one a few episodes ago. They had Connor Ingram, kind of a local boy. He played for Kamloops. And he said he was informed that he was traded to the Pats in the Memorial Cup season. But obviously that didn't happen. So they must have been real close to that.
Yep.
So that was kind of an interesting little tidbit. So, but yeah, that's a good show.
So it's a weekly?
Yeah, it's a weekly. Check him out. Why wouldn't a guy?
Yeah, that's a good
So,
one. Another one I want to plug is Bat Flips and Maple Dips. So they're out of Saskatoon, I think, mostly, and they cover the Blue Jays. So good if you can't follow all the games that they are playing or missing, or want to keep up a little bit with the MLB. That's a good one. And what else have you been doing to fill your time during work?
During work, just listen to podcasts. There hasn't been, I've cut back on the sports ones because there hasn't been much to talk about. And honestly, I don't really want to hear people ramble about COVID and stuff like that, and whether or not it's going to happen, like exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, now at work, I just throw in some tunes or something else. Go back to the music. But that's been my kind of thing. Yeah, I've kind of cut back on the sports ones.
Okay.
I got a few other notes here. Dub Network. So they kind of they kind of had a pause.
Pulled the plug.
Yeah.
And then
it
wasn't very long after.
No, they came back. And
Yeah.
I know there's some departures. Like I departed. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to put forth.
It was a lot of time.
It was
But
a
hey,
lot of time.
Kevin took over your role.
Well, I don't know what they kind of switched up the format, because I know there's a few guys that left at the end of the season, and it sounds like they're going to lean more to like the stories, not like the game recaps and stuff like that. I mean, you can get game recaps off the website and stuff like that, but there's no story through the game recap, where we were putting together a story with the game recap, right?
Yeah.
We're always trying to put together like what was not the theme of the game, but what was the story of the game, right? From the quotes we were getting. So we weren't just like throwing down, okay, this guy scored at this time, this guy scored at this time, this guy scored at this time, and this is the score, right?
I think it was Global. They put out game recaps, and I almost swear it was a bot that wrote it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just like a box score basically, right?
Yeah, and they would take the box score and the goal scorer, and they would just
there's no story to
it
the story.
was like an ad lib, where you just put in and and it was like
So now it seems like they're gonna like lean more to just the human interest kind of thing, which we were trying to do. I was trying to do one of those a week, right, along with the game recaps.
And those were interesting. Those
and those I spent a whole night on most of those.
I'm sure, at least
by the time you do all the research and try to do a backstory and then do an interview and get all that stuff, and I wasn't just going to throw it together in 20 minutes. I want to put together something good.
Mm-hmm. Those are the most interesting to read.
So it sounds like
opinion.
They're going to lean more to that stuff, and they've done a good job. They've got guys in almost every city again, like more than they had last year.
Okay.
So I think there's only 4 or 5 cities they don't have guys in. But yeah, it sounds like Kevin's going to do some stuff. I mean, he's not going to be doing... I think he's going to be doing more of the history stuff. Like his first one was... I can't remember what his first story was, but it was more of a history kind of recap kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Rod Pearson's going to cover maybe more of the day-to-day kind of stuff, I think.
Right.
So he's going to cover Regina Amustra. So, hey, I can't fault them, or can't... That's a pretty good guy to take over for me.
Between the two of them. That's,
exactly.
That's good coverage.
Yeah. So, it's unfortunate. I enjoy doing it, but it was pretty time consuming, and I was
Yeah.
pretty busy in the winter. I had a couple hockey teams, and now the baby, so it was the last.
And you're always there for what, an extra half hour, 45 minutes?
Half hour, and then I was doing my game recaps,
Yeah.
so it was another hour doing a game
Yeah.
recap and a story. So it was usually midnight or later when I went to bed after a game. So
that's tough.
Yeah.
No, totally understandable why you couldn't keep it up, but
Yeah.
certainly some great people to take it over and
Yeah,
hopefully run with it.
And hopefully I can continue maybe some media access for next season, whenever that is. And
Yeah,
with
it certainly was
my background.
a nice part of this. I think we brought a different element with it.
Yeah.
Because you get the sound clips on the radio once in a while.
Yeah.
Just to have.
Or if you listen to the post game interview.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They're okay, but they're pretty short and to the point.
But yeah, so I don't know. We'll try hard, see if I can get back in there with my background with Dub Network. You know, I did some pretty good work, I thought, and showcase the team and the players. So hopefully I can use that to get back in.
And maybe a little bit of shake up with the Pats organization might open the door a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be good. Okay, anything else you want to go over?
One other thing. You know, lots of teams have signed players. I think we've struggled a bit. Not struggled, but there hasn't been a ton of signings.
Yep.
And we kind of thought Bedard would be a selling point for this team.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe people are just waiting because they don't know what the situation is. But yeah, it's kind of a not concern, but it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just thought there'd be more
not
signings.
as successful as you thought it should be.
Right off the hop, anyways, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like the only big signing other than Bedard has been Whitehead, and he signed on his birthday.
Okay.
I noticed that. So maybe he waited for that one, but
I mean, you can. Yeah, it's tough to read anything right now with.
Yeah, I know
the whole situation. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, how long's it been
since that we've been talking?
Yeah.
42 minutes.
Oh, hey. It's like we haven't missed a beat, hey?
Yeah, you know, there's
I mean,
nothing. My wife says, what are you guys going to talk about? There's stuff.
We've left it, right? We let the topics build up because there's no point in coming on here weekly and talking about nothing. I don't want to listen to that. You don't want to listen to that.
No.
Nobody wants to listen
I haven't listened to a lot of sports-related news till hockey started.
Yeah,
I didn't even turn it on. I could have canceled my cable. Should have canceled my cable, actually. Saved a few bucks, but...
I've hardly turned on the TV. I mean, when I was home with the baby, I took 2 weeks off there, and we just had the TV on. But there was nothing on it. Like, it was...
Oh, well, soon it'll be Paw Patrol and...
Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, all that fun stuff.
Frozen. Yeah. I know. I've got 3 nieces, so I'm tuned right into that stuff.
You know all that.
Yeah. I'm always downloading the movies to put on their sticks so they can watch in the car. And
totally.
Yeah.
Good.
So...
Okay. Well, let's wrap it up for today. Yeah, we might have some stuff coming. We'll see. If this doesn't work out, we'll try and have some fun this winter.
Yeah.
I'm trying to plan something.
All right.
I don't know if you want to be part of it or not, but
we'll try to put out some stuff. Maybe we'll try to get some ex-player interviews or something.
Yeah,
hey, try to
we'll
work
see
that magic.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up. Thanks, everyone, for listening in. Thanks, Amanda, for the comments. It's nice to see those work. I wasn't sure if they would. Yeah. And, again, we'll typically come to you on Facebook Live. You can follow us there. Are we just Patscast or WHL Patscast there? I can't remember.
On Facebook, it's Patscast Pod.
Okay.
But it's Patscast. And then
if you look for Patscast.
Patscast Pod is the actual, like, the link or whatever.
Okay, cool.
I know.
So do that, and then follow us on Twitter. That's our main stomping grounds at WHL Patscast.
Yeah.
You know, I was still looking at Patscast. There's still some guy that has that, and it's New England Patriots.
Oh yeah,
that jerk. They haven't
checked the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
They haven't done any. They haven't even tweeted in like 6 years.
Oh,
God, jeez. There should be like a
whatever. But if we go Patscast, then maybe it'd be all the New England people just start
maybe
following
we'd get
us.
some artificial downloads. Just all of a sudden spike, and everyone's like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. New England Patriots podcast. Oh, wait, they're talking about hockey in Canada?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. What the hell? And for any other podcasts, check out the Saskatchewan Podcast Network. Lots on there. Some good golf ones. The Rebellion one is good, right? Rebellion.
Yeah.
Thanks. checking out their Cerveza. It's a good one
tonight
for the summer. So yeah, there's some good ones on there if you're looking for some more stuff to listen to.
Yeah, and check out the Regina Pats Hot Takes Facebook group too.
Yes.
That's a good little area for lots of Pats talk. So, and we're always posting our links in there as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, good night. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Good night.